Odysseus, the legendary hero of Homer's epic, isn't introduced to us valiantly fighting monsters or cunningly outsmarting foes. Instead, we first encounter him weeping on a beach. For the initial 4 books of the Odyssey, we've watched Telemachus, Odysseus's son, develop, symbolizing the mind preparing for change. Now in Book 5, our focus shifts to Odysseus himself, representing not just a breakout from physical stagnation, but the core consciousness finally deciding to cease hiding in the comfort of the material world. It's the beginning of a violent, difficult journey back to spiritual mastery. Let's explore the mental states and symbols presented in Book 5 as we meet Odysseus on the island of Ogygia. Ogygia itself symbolizes the ultimate comfort zone. It's a paradise for the physical senses, yet it completely isolates one from spiritual growth. Then there's Calypso, whose name fittingly means the concealer. She embodies the allure of the material world and physical gratification, effectively hiding the true self from its higher purpose. Calypso offers Odysseus immortality, but it's an immortality of stagnation, a life without purpose. Odysseus, in this context, is the true self, the I Am presence, currently a prisoner of his senses. The divine messenger, Hermes, represents a direct flash of divine will, breaking through from the highest source, Zeus, into the physical realm. When Odysseus finally escapes, he does so on a raft, which symbolizes spiritual discipline and focused effort. It's the vehicle you must build yourself to escape sensory entrapment. However, the journey isn't smooth. Poseidon's storm represents the violent emotional resistance of the subconscious when we try to change our lives and leave our comfort zones. Finally, Ino's veil signifies divine grace and total surrender. When we first see Odysseus, the I Am presence, he isn't heroically active. He's sitting on the beach, weeping. By day, he gazes at the ocean, longing for his true home, Ithaca, which represents inner harmony. But by night, he returns to Calypso's bed. This perfectly captures the hypocrisy of a mind trapped in a comfortable yet unfulfilling life. You know you're meant for more, feeling the pain of stagnation, yet you return to the very habits that keep you stuck because they feel safe and pleasurable. The true self is literally crying out to be freed from the heavy, dulling embrace of the physical senses. This cycle only breaks when Hermes arrives. Zeus, representing supreme spiritual law, sends Hermes, divine will, to command Calypso to release Odysseus. The esoteric meaning here is that the universe won't allow you to stagnate indefinitely. Eventually, a higher impulse strikes you, an undeniable internal command saying you must move forward now. The material world, represented by Calypso, may complain, but ultimately the lower senses must bow to the higher will. Calypso agrees to let Odysseus go, but she doesn't provide a magical ship. Instead, she gives him an axe. Odysseus must chop down trees and build his own raft. This illustrates that you can't simply wish your way out of a rut. Divine will grants permission to leave, but the physical and mental labor is still yours. Building the raft symbolizes the daily discipline, the learning, the meditation, and the psychological work necessary to rise above the heavy pull of old habits. Odysseus sets sail, but the journey is far from peaceful. Poseidon, the lord of the emotional and subconscious realm, sees him escaping and unleashes a massive, terrifying storm that shatters the raft. Whenever you attempt a significant leap in consciousness, your subconscious mind often panics. It prefers the familiar safety of Calypso's island. Poseidon's storm is the withdrawal phase, the anxiety, emotional outbursts, and chaos that erupt when you strip away old coping mechanisms. Just as Odysseus is on the verge of drowning in this emotional chaos, the sea goddess Ino appears, handing him a magical veil. She instructs him to shed his heavy, wet clothes, his old identity, wrap the veil around his chest, abandon the broken raft, and swim. This veil represents grace through surrender. There comes a point in deep psychological change where discipline, the raft, fails, and your old identity, the wet clothes, drags you down. You can no longer fight the storm of your emotions through sheer willpower. You must let go, trust the process, and surrender to the higher currents of the universe. Book 5 serves as a reality check. It prompts us to identify our own Calypso, that comfortable habit or situation currently concealing our true potential. It also warns that the escape will be messy. You'll need to build your own raft of discipline, and you'll almost certainly face a storm of emotional resistance. When that storm hits and everything feels like it's falling apart, that's not the time to retreat. It's the moment to shed your old identity, trust the process, and swim toward the shore of your new consciousness. Following this violent destruction of the old self through the storm, Book 6 introduces a gentler process of rebirth and purification. After surrendering your old identity and surviving the emotional chaos, you enter a deeply vulnerable state. In the esoteric tradition, Book 6 depicts the I Am consciousness emerging completely bare, ready to be clothed in a new, pure state of mind. Let's examine the psychological states represented on the shores of Scheria. Scheria, the land of the Phaeacians, symbolizes a transitional state of mind, a peaceful, highly intuitive realm that bridges the divine and mortal worlds. It represents calm receptivity. Princess Nausicaa embodies pure, untainted inspiration. She is the virgin subconscious, receptive, calm, and free from aggressive ego or trauma. The act of washing clothes signifies the cleansing of old psychological garments, which in esoteric symbolism represent identity, beliefs, and the roles we play. Odysseus, naked and battered, is the true self, stripped of all past titles, defenses, and ego, left with nothing but his core awareness. Finally, the olive branch symbolizes approaching the mind with wisdom and peace, rather than force. While Odysseus sleeps, exhausted in the bushes, Athena, representing divine intuition, visits Princess Nausicaa in a dream. She tells the princess it's time to go to the river and wash the palace's clothes, for she will soon be married. Following a major psychological purge like the storm of Book 5, your intuition prompts your subconscious, Nausicaa, to begin washing the garments. This is the quiet, internal work of cleansing your thoughts, beliefs, and attitudes, preparing your mind to be united or married with a higher state of consciousness. Nausicaa and her maids go to the river, wash the clothes, and start playing with a ball. Their shouts awaken Odysseus. He emerges from the wild bushes completely naked, crusted with sea salt, and battered from the storm. To cover his vulnerability, he breaks off a leafy olive branch. When the maids see this wild, terrifying man, they scatter in panic. Only Nausicaa stands her ground, courageous due to Athena's influence. The esoteric meaning here is profound. When your true self finally emerges after stripping away all your old coping mechanisms and illusions, it feels terrifyingly raw. You have no clothes, no fixed identity, no ego defenses to hide behind. The scattered maids represent the flighty, easily spooked surface thoughts of your mind when faced with raw truth. But Nausicaa, the pure, deep subconscious, doesn't flee. She recognizes the presence of the true self. Odysseus doesn't rush or demand help. He uses the olive branch, symbolizing wisdom and restraint, and speaks to her with incredible grace and respect. Nausicaa listens to him, offers food, and crucially, gives him fresh, clean clothes. She then provides instructions on how to approach her parents, the king and queen, to secure his passage home. You can't return to your full power, to Ithaca, naked. You must adopt a new identity, but this time, it must be clean. By clothing Odysseus, the pure subconscious provides the true self with a new, elevated set of beliefs and attitudes. This is the moment you accept a new self-concept, aligned with harmony, rather than the ego-driven chaos of the past. Book 6 is about radical vulnerability. After a major internal shift, there's a period where you feel entirely exposed and exhausted. You don't quite know who you are anymore because your old habits are gone and your new identity hasn't fully solidified. The lesson isn't to panic in that vulnerability. Approach your new state of mind gently, like Odysseus with the olive branch. Allow your intuition to wash away the residue of the past and be willing to wear the new, clean garments of a higher self-concept. The journey of Odysseus through books 5 and 6 of Homer's Odyssey, interpreted esoterically, beautifully illustrates the profound challenges and necessary steps in spiritual awakening. If you found this exploration of Odysseus's journey insightful, consider sharing this episode with someone who's navigating their own path of self-discovery.